Good evening. So today I wanted to talk about a few topics. One of them particularly is grief and loss, um, or death, and what can happen immediately after. Because a lot of people don't understand that death is a very significant thing to our physical body, and it's a significant thing for obviously the person who's dying, but it's also significant because death is not as finite as we think, or as infinite as we think, I should say. Like, we think that when we die, that's it, no more. I mean, some people. And that, you'll never see this person again. And that's often what happens during the first, 30 days of grief is we think, oh no, what could I have done? What could I do? What did I do wrong? How could I fix this? What do I do? Like, we keep bargaining, trying to figure out these different ways to solve it. And I'm not here to tell you like what happens during the grief process. Like, that's not my thing to say. Like, I highly recommend reading the Stages of Grief. I can't remember the doctor. I'll try and get a link for it. But the Stages of Grief, she explains very well what stages you go through, and nobody goes through the stages in the same way. But anyway, so death isn't as eternal as we think, because even science agrees. When you look at thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. If energy cannot be created nor destroyed, that means when somebody dies, they don't actually die. Just their physical matter dies if they're cremated or buried in the ground or whatever. Their physical matter might die, yes, but their energy lives on. And that's scientifically fact. Like, whether or not you want to believe that's heaven, whether or not you want to believe that's, nirvana or whatever, that's on you. But the point is, no one dies forever. We still exist afterwards as something. And that something is what we try and tap into as spiritual, healers, or as shamans, or as telepaths, or any kind of psychic ability. That ether, that other place, that's what we kind of tap into. And that's what psychopomp is. Psychopomp is us allowing us to return to that person who passed away, say our last piece, and understand now that they're not really dead. They're always going to be watching over us in some way. Our ancestors dating all the way back to the beginning of time are watching over us still. We have their knowledge, we have their power, we tap into this collective pool in the back of our heads. We just can't remember. It's all about just awakening and remembering what you have forgotten, because you have forgotten an epic amount of history and an epic amount of knowledge. Like, we used to be able to move giant stones with our mind. We think that we live in a place where civilization is 5,000 years old, but they're finding that's bullshit. More and more bullshit. Like, Gobekli Templi is what? Something like 11,000 years? Like, it's like 11,000, something like twice the amount of time that we thought civilization existed. We now know is even further. And like, these ancestors we had, they knew this spiritual things. They knew that death wasn't a permanent thing. They would talk to their ancestors, they would talk to their peoples. They allowed themselves to understand these things by having a shaman in their culture, and being tribally communal instead of me. Like, once you understand ego doesn't exist, then you find that, okay, well, I am everything is me, and when someone dies, they become part of everything. So really, when someone dies, they become part of me. So really, no one has died. They've just become part of you in a bigger way. And you are always going to be a part of them. We are connected on a web, a cosmic web. I wish I had a picture of it, but I might be able to edit that in. I don't know. But this cosmic web, this web of weird is what they call it.